Chapter 3.3, Systems of Linear Inequalities. From this lesson, you should learn how to solve a system of linear inequalities and also how to solve a system of linear inequalities and an absolute value inequality. Okay, the first thing you want to do when you have a system of inequalities is to put them in, if they're two lines, you want to put them in slope-intercept form. So the bottom one's already in slope-intercept form. The top one I need to rewrite. So I'm going to subtract 2x, and I get negative y greater than or equal to negative 2x minus 3. I can't have negative y, I have to have positive y, so I'm going to change that sign, which makes me have to change my inequality, change the 2x and the 3. Now I have my two lines, so I'm going to graph them. So for the first line, I'm going to highlight it in pink, and we'll graph it in pink. So we're going to go up 1, then we're going to go slope negative 1/2, so down 1, right 2, down 1, right 2, and then graph your line. If there is a line, or if it's greater than or equal to or less than or equal to, you're going to put a solid line. And then you're going to shade the graph. The easiest way to do this is of course you're going to pick a test point, and we'll say 0, 0, and you plug it in. And then if it's true, you shade on the side of the test point, and if it's false, you shade on the other side. But 99% of the time, if you have a greater than symbol, you're going to shade above the graph if it's in slope-intercept form. So we're going to shade up here. And if it's in slope-intercept form and you have a less than symbol, you're going to shade below the graph. So the next thing I'm going to do is graph that blue equation. So my slope is 2 and my y-intercept is positive 3. So I'm going to go up 3, put a point, and slope is rise 2, run 1, rise 2, run 1. So I'm going to put my line. This is also a solid line because the sign is or equal to. And then it's a less than symbol, so we're going to shade below the line. Okay, the overlap is the solution. So if they ask you for the solution of the equation or the system of inequalities, they're really only asking you for this section right here. On a multiple choice test, this section that is shaded double here is going to be the only section that's shaded on the test. That's your solution. Okay? This and this would not be shaded. We shaded it to show the solution of one line, and then where they cross is the solution of both of them. So this is the solution to the system. This is a good point for you to try to pause it and do it on your own, but I'm going to go ahead and do this one. We have to rewrite the top line, so if I move the x to the right hand side, I get 2y less than or equal to negative x plus 4, and then divide by 2, and I get y is less than or equal to negative 1/2 x plus 2. And then the other one I'm going to graph in blue. So if I'm going to graph this, I'm going to sketch my little graph. The blue one I'll graph first. We're going to go down 1 and put a point, and then our slope is negative 1. So that's down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1. And then you can keep going if you need to. And this is going to be a solid line because I use a greater than or equal to. And it's greater than, so you're going to shade above the graph. Okay, the pink line where our y-intercept is 2, I'm going to put a point at positive 2. Then my slope is down 1, right 2, down 1, right 2. And that's going to be a solid line. And see, it looks like I'm going to have to keep my graph going. And we're going to shade below that line because it's less than. So we're going to shade down here. Where the two shaded areas cross is my solution. So if they ask me for my solution, I can outline it here with the black and even like maybe highlight it in black here. So you see where the two shaded areas crossed was here. That's my solution. Okay, example 4, solving a linear absolute value system. If you have a linear absolute value system, you're going to do it exactly like we just did the lines. It's just that one of them is going to graph a V and the other one's going to graph a line. So the first one, y is less than or equal to 3, that's going to be a horizontal line. There is 0 slope, so it's going to be a horizontal line, and it goes through positive 3. Okay, it's less than 3. So we are going to shade below the line, and it's a solid line because I have the equal to sign up under it. Okay, the absolute value graph. We are going to graph that. You can make a table if you need to. You could also graph using transformation. So that -1 is actually going to make it move right 1. And then your right slope is going to be positive 1, so right 1, up 1, right 1, up 1, and your negative slope, your left leg is going to be the opposite of that. So there's your V. If you had wanted to make a table, you could and just do the XY table and choose some X's, -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2, and plug them in to find your Y's. But you're going to get 3, 2, 1, 0, and 1, and you can graph those points and you're going to get the same graph. Okay, and then my sign is greater than, so I'm going to shade above the V, which is here, and the shaded where the shaded areas cross is my solution. So I'm actually going to outline that in black and shade it in black so you can see that the solution is right there where the two areas cross. It's not the blue area, it's not the red area, it's where they crossed. This is another good point for you to stop and try this one on your own, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. The first line is in slope-intercept form, and I'll graph it in pink. And then the second one is already in slope-intercept form, and I'll graph it in blue. The first one's a line, the second one's an absolute value. So my line, I'm going to go up 1, put a point, and then slope, supposed to graph it in blue. Slope is down 1, right 3. Down 1, right 3. And that is a dotted line because it has no equal symbol underneath the inequality. So I'm actually going to do a dotted line through there. Okay, the next, oops, that was supposed to be in pink. Just kidding. Let me redo that real quick. So I did the line in pink. And then it's less than, so I'm going to shade below the line. Okay, the absolute value I'm going to do in blue. And I can do it with transformations, but I'm going to think I'll do this one with the table. So we're going to choose -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. And when you plug it in, you get -3. Absolute value of -3 is 3, and 3 times 2 is 6. You get -2, 2, and then you get 4. If you plug in 0, you get -1. Absolute value of -1 is 1, times 2 is 2. If you plug in 1, you get 0, so that's 0. And if you plug in 2, you get 1, so that's 2. And then you can graph that. So the point is -2, 6. -1, 4. 0, 2. Oh, that's 0, 1. 0, 2. 1, 0. And 2, 2. So there's a V, and it's going to be a dotted V because I don't have a line under my inequality. And it's greater than, so I'm going to shade above the graph. And I don't know if you can see it because it's a very small little section, but it does cross right there. And that's your solution. The area I shaded black where the two inequalities crossed. Okay, it's your turn. I want you to solve 1 and 2. Make sure you show all of your work where you rewrite them in slope-intercept form, and then show the graphs as your solution. If you don't have that, you are not going to get credit for it. I'm going to throw it away. If it looks rushed, like you were trying to get it filled out real fast before I asked you to turn in your homework, I'm also going to throw it away.